Does it matter to you guys how quickly law enforcement responds to a crime? Can I hear your opinions on that?
Does it matter to you how quickly law enforcement responds to a crime? Like how serious they take it or how they react?
385. Ideally, you would expect that law enforcement should respond as quickly as possible to a reported crime, in my opinion.
Especially a sexual crime.
Or any crime.
I agree.
Okay, Jackie Landy, badge 382. I think obviously law enforcement has a lot of crimes that are reported, so I think it depends on the type of crime and in the manner in which they're able to respond as quickly as some others. But in some cases where it's endangerment and whatever, then I would expect them to respond right away.
I'll ask you a question. Do you think sexual assault demands a quick response?
I guess it depends on when they reported it. If it was reported from years in the prior and there was no immediate danger, then it might not happen as quickly in them investigating.
Chad Hayes, 375. Yes, they should always immediately respond, and if it is anything with a sexual minor, then it should be a priority.
I 100% agree.
Steve Cole, 369. You'd have to look at if there was something extenuating circumstances that, or new evidence that came into something that would take a part in it too. You know, so if something came up, there was new evidence, then that might mean there was a delay.
So,
What?
Steve, what would you think would make a delay? You know,
Well,
somebody-
sometimes it can be, you know, it could be, I'm trying to think of the word, DNA or something, a delay in DNA or something that takes time to get evidence that could create a delay before people went for prosecution.
What about if there is no physical evidence?
Then you'd have to kind of weigh the matter. You'd have to weigh the matter.
Thank you, Steve.
Can you pass that behind you to Ms. Harris?
Maythia Harris, 461. I believe that law enforcement should respond to any situation quickly. However, I think just like in any situation where you have a he say, she say, it does require an investigation. And I think in any part of law enforcement, it requires full cooperation. So because we know that sexual abuse cases or whatever, and we've all agreed that people may not come, forward quickly. So I think it also depends on the cooperation of the persons involved and how much they're willing to share and not share, and at the times that they are. You often see that they come forward and they don't, and so I think all of the things, they can only do as much as they can in he say, she say, because it is our right for them to respond, but we also want them to take the matters seriously and represent both sides.
Yeah, Ms. Harris, you made great points. Also, do you think during a response, the officer should maybe go to the scene of the alleged crime?
I think when an investigation happens, all the details that are involved should be investigated, absolutely.
Yes, I agree with you 100%.
Mhm.
Do you think, do you think the officer should try to interview the person that he thinks committed the crime?
I think all parties involved deserves to be, all sides and all parties involved deserves some attention to it. Like I said, things come at different times, as we know. In any investigation, it can vary because like the gentleman said ahead, new evidence come or new factors come into play that they have to consider. Also, when things come and they identify that it's not the truth, or there's, you know what I mean? I think an investigation is what it is, and it can play a big factor. And if they're really doing their job, then it's gonna take time.
Yes, yes, I agree. Thank you, Mrs. Harris. That was great.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? Do you guys think dates of time of alleged crimes is important, or just a general 1 year window or 2 year window?
Rochelle, your questions for hypotheticals, please.
Hypothetically speaking, so hypothetically speaking, say someone comes forward and their statement, what they say to police, excuse me guys, I gotta get my train of thought together on this one. So hypothetically speaking, say a sexual assault, alleged sexual assault victim or sexual assault victim says, something happened this year. They pick a year. And they said, this happened. This is, I'm 100% sure, this is the year I was sexually assaulted. But it's proven that it was impossible for it to happen that year. Does that hold any merit to you? Right here. Officer Kelly?
You may use the same.
If it's factually impossible for a person to have been assaulted in that year, then that would certainly be relevant.
Grant Nebuchadnezzar 404. Yeah, it would definitely hold some merit if it. 404. I think that goes along with common sense. If it can't be done, it can't be done.
Right.
But definitely going through, like I can't think back to specific dates from even 3 years ago. So depending on where it was, you know.
I can't think back to 2 days ago.
Yeah, especially dealing with a traumatic experience.
Right.
Trying to put timelines on stuff can be tricky. So.
Right.
But if it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit.
There you go. Gotta quit.
Badge number 436, Vincent Mack. No, I don't agree with that. It could have happened, but they could have the wrong date.
Yes.
But it still could have happened.
But what about the wrong year?
That's the same thing. For a minor, it all could blur together. They could think last year, but it really happened year before last. Because they were scared and don't remember when, but they remember exactly what happened.
Okay, Vince, let's hit on that point. What about if a police officer gave you that year?
He could have got it from them.
So
he just going on their testimony. So he just investigating what they said. So if they said it happened in 77, and it really happened in 75, but the kid don't know, he still gotta investigate 77.
Yeah, you're correct. You're correct, Vince. So
makes
if
sense,
the
yeah.
officer, so let's go back to 77. That was a good year. So if if the alleged crime happened, they said the alleged crime, if the officer said the alleged crime happened in 77, but the officer finds out that this was impossible that it happened in 77, that it happened in 78, if it ever happened, would that have any merit on you?
No, not really.
What about if they can't produce evidence from 77, but they got paperwork from 78?
I don't know about that.
So if you're, say you're a police officer, hypothetically speaking, your victim says something happened in 77. But you found out it was impossible that it happened in 77, but you think it could have possibly happened in 78. Wouldn't you say, okay, 78, I'll change to 77, I'll go to 78?
Yeah, but the officer can't do that. He gotta only go by the evidence, what they said.
Why can't he change? Why can't he help? Why wouldn't he be able to do that?
Cause then that throw all this out. It's illegal. He can't do that.
Really?
Well, you're supposed to do that.
They're gonna throw it all out?
That makes the whole thing illegal.
So, I like that point. I never thought of that. You're educating me, Vince. I'm learning from you. I'm learning. Because, like you guys, I don't know what the hell is going on. This is all new to me. I don't know law. I'm on the fly. I've been working on this 5 days.
Okay, so we're not gonna have any comments like that. Mr. Davis has the right to represent himself. He has chosen to represent himself in this matter,
All right.
and so that is your choice, which you've elected, and we're respecting that right.
So, Ms. Vincent, back on your point, I really like your points. So, basically, you're saying that the year is off, but they know the correct year, or the year that it allegedly happened. Either they need to throw it out, fix the year, or, I don't know what else they can do with it. Anyone else got any suggestions on that?
Um, 441, Christine. I do believe that time does affect a person's memory. It's not a record player. Obviously, we can't positively identify all the facts, especially if it's been years past. But I think if a crime is committed, and it needs to be investigated. But it's understood that a lot of victims go through PTSD, or their memory could be logged. So regardless, I think if everyone is doing their job, judges, courts, police officers, it all needs to be investigated as best as it could.
Yes, I agree with you, Christine. I really agree with you. Okay, now, on your point, Christine, I want to ask you a question. Say if a person, hypothetically speaking, and these are not ages in this crime, I mean, it's this trial, so I'm using ages, just to show you guys, so it's not the ages of the alleged victim. So say someone is 6 years old, hypothetically speaking, and they allege this happened to them when they were 6 years old, hypothetically speaking. But say that person, so say now they were charged, they got a person charged. And the crimes of, say, a 6-year-old, crimes against, say, a 6-year-old opposed to an 8-year-old is different charges. So what I'm trying to say is, one is more severe.
Sustained.
I don't think,
So, I'm sorry, that was objected to and is sustained, so Mr. Davis has to come up with a different question.
She said she wanted to approach.
I know, no.
Oh. Okay, I get a different angle at this. Say someone says something happened at a certain age, but it is proven beyond a reasonable doubt that that possibly couldn't have been their age. And I don't want to ask that question. So I'll go on to my next question. Thank you, Christina. Your answers were great. I don't want to go into the problem. So batch number were you again, Christina?
441.
441. And what do you guys think about your fellow jurors? What do you guys think about this juror pool? What do you think about the makeup of it? Vincent?
I think it's fair so far.
I'm sorry, you what?
Think it's fair. Think
You think
it's a diverse group of people, a fair group of people.
you think it's fair? I love this group of people. I love you guys. But,
No, is there a question?
yeah,
Not
yes,
statements,
yes,
questions.
yes.
Tammy Esposito, 437. I think it's a great group. I think you have a great representation of age and ethnicity and experiences and education. I can't imagine a group that would be more diverse to listen to this trial and to make a decision. I think it's a great group. I mean, you've got a wealth of experiences, and you know, some people have backgrounds that are similar. They have experiences that are similar to what they're going to be listening to, but they've all indicated that they can be fair, and I believe they can be. I don't think there would be anybody here if they didn't think they could be fair. There wouldn't be any reason for them to stay if they don't think they couldn't be fair.
I agree with you. Now, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What race am I?
I don't know. I would say that you're black, but I don't know that for sure.
Am I male or female?
You're male, as far as I can tell.
Look at the jury pool.
Yeah?
Do you see any black males there?
No, but I don't think it's something intentional. I was in the selection. I was in the group that were selected. If there's no black males here in this jury, if there isn't,
So I just want to note for the record that there's 2 black males.
is there? Well, are they behind
To
me?
your left.
Okay.
You guys are part
She's
of
too. Let's see. I don't see color, so I'm colorblind apparently because
Christina,
Tammy.
I'm colorblind.
Yeah, I've been talking to these 2 guys for 2 days. Oh, they're black? Okay.
And I see that, and I see that. But something is happening in America that you guys should be very upset about.
But this is an individual trial. This isn't, we're in America, but this is an instance. This isn't, nothing should be considered other than what's taking place in this room. Nothing should be considered other than what's taking place in this room and what will be taking place in this room. Nothing.
Christina.
Tammy.
Tammy.
That's a Christina.
Do you think racism exists in America?
I think it exists, yes, absolutely. Absolutely, it does.
Christina?
Tammy?
I do not believe it exists.
Okay, I believe it does. In my heart, it doesn't. Again, I've been talking to these 2 gentlemen all week, the last 2 days.
I do not believe.
Question, I need a question.
Yes.
So, no, it's
No.
not, I'm not,
I'm saying yes, it does exist.
Not you.
Okay,
not you.
okay,
Anyone else want to
here.
question racism?
Sorry, this isn't a question. 373. I believe you get to choose 12 and then 2 alternates, so you get to narrow us down to 14. So then you can make it the makeup, or you get a say in the makeup of what your jury is, and that we're getting close to that to actually happening. So you get to have an influence as to who your jury is,
What if the pool don't allow you to?
but you do. You're right.
So I can just say I want to put the Asian guy on the jury, so I can just go get an Asian guy and put him on my pool.
If they're one of the 30-something, then yes, you can.
I can pick one.
I believe so.
No.
You get to ask questions, you don't get to tell them if they're right or wrong.
I'm sorry, Christina. I can't. I
30,
won't.
out of the 32, you get to select, she's correct.
Out of the 32?
32, so these guys in the first row there.
14 total, 12 will be your actual jury, I was on a jury, and 2 will be your alternate. So you get to narrow it down to 14 of us.
What badge number are you again?
373.
And then you have another answer over to your left. Go ahead, sir.
But if
Go ahead, Vince.
if you don't see color, it doesn't matter what the jury look like. If you say you don't see race, it don't matter if they all green.
True. That's very true. But you have a constitutional right to a jury of your peers.
So this is Mr. Mays, badge number 436, correct?
Yes.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mays. Sorry.
You have a constitutional right to a jury of your peers. There's case law on that.
Correct?
All over. And a lot of people are not being afforded that.
Is there a question, sir?
Yes, ma'am?
So this process is for questions. You don't just indoctrinate or say statements, okay? So we have to ask questions.
Here's another. Say you got a coworker. And you guys been co-workers for years. You work in the same office. Your kids go to the same school. You lunch together, you see each other every day. Now, a stranger comes to your workplace. Would you be more inclined to help that stranger or your coworker?
Jeremy, badge number is 354. I think it's reasonable to assume that most of us would be more comfortable with somebody that we're familiar with than with a stranger. Not necessarily that we wouldn't help somebody that's a stranger, but in general, we tend to be more comfortable with people that we know.
Yes, I agree. And so you'd be more comfortable to help your coworker, obviously. I would too. I feel the same way you feel about that. But subconsciously, is that fair to treat someone better because they're your coworker? I mean, would you feel?
No, it's not. We should be open-minded and willing to treat everyone equally. But the reality of the situation, if we are not consciously thinking about from that perspective, we're generally going to be more comfortable around people that we know.
Yes, I agree. 100% agree with you. You couldn't have put it better. I just love the way you put it. I wish I could put things that way. I mean, you are good.
Questions, please?
Officer Campbell.
To answer the previous question, honestly, I'd probably rather help a stranger than a coworker, just because, like, a coworker or family member, I mean, I'd want to help them to an extent, but I feel like they might want to, like, take advantage of that or, like, overuse my, you know, kindness. So I'm more willing, honestly, to probably help a stranger.
Jason Gordon, number 463.
I'm so sorry, I forgot.
Don't worry about it.
I'm 386, Amanda.
Jason Gordon, 463. I'd say that everything that's been said is probably correct, unless, of course, I happen to know that this coworker I see every day, and I see them every day, and in that relationship is determined that I hate them and they're a dirty, rotten scumbag. I might be more inclined to help a stranger, but it would depend on the coworker, I would imagine.
Yeah, I agree. Anybody else got anything on coworkers opposed to strangers? If somebody got on a stand, somebody got on the stand, they swore to tell the truth, nothing but the truth. Swore on the oath and he was court. And then you found out by listening and taking notes, which is what I really want you guys to do, who makes the jury, I want you to really take notes. So you find out by listening to them, by their previous testimony or cross-examination, you catch them in a lie. Now, would you give that any merit?
Amanda, number 386. Yeah.
I got you memorized.
What I would do is I'd definitely question it if I felt like facts weren't lining up correctly, and then that way I could try to see, because it's under oath, so I'd try to figure out why things weren't lining up correctly.
So hypothetically speaking, if somebody told that this happened this day, but then you find out that it's proven not hearsay, it's proven that they are making it up, would you be inclined to believe them, or?
Well, I think the court would have to throw it out if it's not matching up, because everything's said under oath.
They-
So it's going to be to the best of their knowledge or their ability
I
to
don't know.
recall it.
That's a good response. You stumped me.